So now it is my great pleasure to introduce our special guests from Silsmea in Voss, Norway. Today with us, we have Anna-Kari Salbu, who is co-owner and a member of the family that founded the business. We have Trond Sivertsen, who is the CEO.
Hey.
And I would like to introduce you to goldsmith Anders Fagertun. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
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 Hello, everyone. So nice to hear that so many people are interested in Silsmea's story. So I look very much forward to the meeting.
Well, and thank you for being with us in person. I know that not everybody was able to come to Vesterheim when you joined us in March or April. I guess it was March. So thank you for doing this virtually for us. It's the next best thing to having you at Vesterheim. So we'll start today with our video presentation that they have prepared. This tells us a little bit about the company. And also, I know you'll be very interested, the secrets of the sølje, the round brooches that are steeped in tradition and history. So we'll do that next. And remember that you'll have a chance to ask a few questions after this video. So get those ready and you can put them into the Q&A.
Dear staff, members and friends of Vesterheim, my name is Trond Syvertsen and I am the CEO of Silsmea. We are proud and happy to have the opportunity to have this briefing for you. First of all, I want to express a heartfelt Norwegian tusen takk for the role of Vesterheim as a highly vibrant museum and folk art school. Thank you very much for the wonderful job you're doing. Thank you so much for inviting us with the Sylsmea exhibition that you can see at the museum until the middle of June. Thank you for setting it up so beautifully and for making us feel so welcome. I'm deeply impressed by all the professionalism and hospitality we have been met with at all levels at Vesterheim. Tusen takk.
My name is Anne-Kari Johannessen Salbu. I represent the third generation of owners of Sylsmidja. And I was born at Voss, where Silsmea is situated. If you're wondering about the picture on the screen, I can tell you that these three are the present owners of Silsmea. Admittedly, a few 50 years ago. You see me on the left, my brother Leif in the middle, and my cousin Susan on the right. But the story doesn't start here. We are Norway's largest manufacturer of bunad silver, established in 1940 at Voss, family-owned company now by third generation, and we're one of the largest private workplaces at Voss with 63 employees. The plan for the next 40 minutes or so is to tell you the story of Silsmea, which has had quite a dramatic start back in 1940. We will show some of our products and tell the stories behind them, but before we start this journey, we'd like to give you some impressions of us. Just as a curiosity, I can mention that this road you see here was the main road between Norway's two largest cities, Bergen and Oslo, 30 years ago. A famous and beautiful view, but not very suitable for driving, especially not in the wintertime. Voss is also quite high up in one statistics, and that is Olympic and World Championship medals per inhabitant. We are working on medal number 100. At present we have 98. Not bad for a community with 15,000 inhabitants. None medals this last Olympics. The best was a 5th place. And Voss have at least one famous Norwegian American as well. He's named the greatest football coach of all time, Knut Rockne, the Rock. He was head football coach of Notre Dame University, and I think he still is the most successful of all times with a .881 winning percentage. Studebaker made a car with his name, and there is a movie of his life where Ronald Reagan played one of the leads. But it's not only in the winter time things are happening. Every summer people come from all over the world to participate or to watch the activities in the Extreme Sport Week. We have snow in the summer as well. We at Voss also like to think of ourselves as a bit different. Here you see the typical spa experience at Voss, and afterwards a shower. Here is Voss Airlines, daily departures and excellent landing conditions in central Voss. And here you see a typical meal at Voss every autumn. And this is no joke. Most of my classmates at school came from farms. No good protein should be wasted, so the sheep's head was a common dinner once or twice a week in the autumn when the sheep were slaughtered. Silsmea is Norway's leading manufacturer of silver jewelry for the country's national costume, the Norwegian bunad. In fact, we are the leading producer in the world of bunad silver. The company is rooted in long traditions of high-quality handcraft. For more than 80 years, our skilled craftsmen have perfected the workmanship and discovered the secrets for making authentic bunad silver that will last for generations for all regions of Norway. Silsmea was founded by my grandfather, Leif Johan Johannessen. My grandfather was born in 1892 in Bergen. In his family, all men were sailors or tradesmen, so Leif's career choice to become a goldsmith was very unexpected. He made up his mind quite young and went to Oslo to get his best training at Tostrup and Tune, the most renowned goldsmiths in Norway. But his stay in Oslo ended quite dramatically in 1914, when the First World War broke out. He went back to Bergen and finished his education in Bergen. He graduated in 1917, and 6 days after graduation, he opened his own workshop. The year after, in 1918, he married Betsy, and the next year they got their firstborn girl. They got 5 children, every second year, all born between the 20th and 30th of December. Leif quickly got a reputation in Bergen for his work. In those days, goldsmiths were craftsmen in line with carpenters, masons, bakers, barbers, etc. But Leif was soon accepted into the artist community in Bergen and became a teacher at the Academy of Arts in Bergen. He won scholarships and traveled to Sweden and Denmark to study enamel work. In 1937, when Prince Harald V, today's King of Norway, was born, the jeweler Brødrene Lone was given the honorable mission to make the christening gift from the city of Bergen. Lone then asked his prior employee Leif Johannessen to take on the project. The gift was a porridge platter and a milk cup in pure silver in recessed enamel. So, what about Silsmea? How did Silsmea come about? The year is 1940. My grandfather is, as mentioned then, an acknowledged goldsmith in Bergen. My grandparents realizes they will have to face a second war against the Germans, and they did not feel safe living with 5 children in a big city like Bergen. So they decided to move to the countryside, to Voss, where they had friends. They made arrangements, rented a house in the center of Voss to both live in and work from. But who could know the family was about to make a move from the ashes to the fire? Voss was one of the places in Norway hardest hit by the German bombs. More than 150 houses were leveled with the ground, including the house Leif had rented. The house in Bergen was sold, and there was no turning back. The family of 7 managed to find a 1-bedroom flat to live in, and Leif got hold of some premises in the outskirts of the center for the workshop and shop. He got local help to find the name Silsmea and opened the store the 15th of September 1940. This was the start of Silsmea. It was war, lack of goods, rationing of food. This was by no means the easiest time to start a goldsmith store. Jewelry was the last thing you really needed. But Leif was a very clever craftsman. So the reputation spread, and people came by with all sorts of assignments or things that needed to be repaired. He fixed everything from horse bridles and reins. He rendered up screws and nuts. The knitting pins of the ladies at Voss were soldered and polished. Sheep bells were fixed. So in this way, they managed to make a living through the 5 years of war. Leif could make anything. He was a painter, he made carvings. And here you see a sisal jug that he made so precise that you could even recognize the people on the jug. Here on the picture you see Silsmea's second premises, first house on the left. Voss is slowly starting to build up barracks on the bombed ground. On the right you see Leif and his 2 sons, Torleif and Einar, my uncle and father, working in these barracks during the war. My grandmother Bessie was very afraid that her 2 young sons, under 18, should be taken by the Germans and forced to work for them, so she sent them up into the mountains of Voss as often as she could. Together with many young in similar position, they built a cottage up in the mountain, Gråsia, to stay in. My father told me that one year he spent 51 of 52 weekends up at this cottage. Here you see some pictures of my father, maybe the small start of what is now the Extreme Sport Week at Voss. Due to bad health, Leif left the company to his 2 sons, Torleif and Einar, shortly after the war. These 2 boys worked hard and managed in the end to take the company from a one-family local business to a company with national importance within the goldsmith trade in Norway. Like their father, the brothers were not very good tradesmen. They were skilled craftsmen, where all focus was put into the production and delivering of high-quality goods. Their business and economics education were limited, but their parents had taught them one golden rule: you need to earn the money before you can spend it. And time should prove it worked out. They both married, Torleif to Isabel from the Orkneys and Einar to Borgny from Voss. Time would show that both wives should make a vital footprint in the history of Silsmea. Isabel was responsible for the goldsmith shop at Voss. Borgny had just come back to Voss from working in London, Copenhagen and Oslo, and she took care of the accounts and had special focus on the liquidity. Torleif was the outgoing, customer-oriented person and did most chores necessary to keep the customers happy. Einar was responsible for the production. Together with an increasing number of fantastic co-workers, he made sure Silsmea could deliver in time. and the two brothers had their board meetings in the hallway when necessary. Both families have always been and still are very active in the board. The son of Einar, Leif, has worked in Silsmea since he graduated high school. Leif Jr. was the first to turn the attention of Silsmea outwards with focus on network and marketing. This was also the generation to implement professional management and external members and chairman of the board. Who are we today? This is a picture of our 75th anniversary in 2015. We will now draw your attention to this time. This symbol is our unique registered hallmark that is stamped on all our products, an ancient drinking horn. The horn, shaped like the letter J after my grandfather's name, Leif Johannessen, has been with us since the start in 1940. The horn is an important sign of quality. A hallmark is not required in America, but we have been surprised to see quite a lot of sølje with Silsmea's hallmark when visiting the US. And now we would like to tell you some of the story and the symbolism behind the sølje. The sølje is much older than the bunad. The rose sølje dates back from the early 1300s, and bridal crowns were used in Europe back to 400 after Christ. Sølje is the traditional brooch worn with the Norwegian bunad. The word sølje comes from the old Norwegian language sylja, and the meaning of the word is buckle. The origin of the word is a bit uncertain. It may be from the Finnish word sølki, meaning buckle or ornamental needle, but it might also come from the Germanic syl, which means pulling, and from here the meaning may have been transferred to what holds the clothes together. The term sølje is also used for similar jewelry in Denmark and Sweden. Søljer have been the dominant breast jewelry worn on Norwegian folk costumes and later on bunad. You will be surprised to know all the secrets kept by a sølje. In all its glory, it's full of symbols and none of its parts are randomly created. The old sølje was worn at times when people could neither read nor write, and its symbols were natural and understandable. Silver was always been associated with myth and superstition, and in ancient times it was used as protection against supernatural danger. Silver was supposed to bring happiness and protect against evil spirits, so both children and adults often carried a silver coin, button or brooch. If you take a closer look at the sølje, you will find a certain symmetry. The number of different parts, such as leaves, dingle and filigree roses, can often be divided by 3 or 4. For example, there are 6 bands on the serpent sølje. In this connection, the number 3 is an ancient symbol of the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit, known as the Holy Trinity. The number 4 symbolizes the 4 corners of the world, north, south, east and west, and everything in between. The repetitive pattern represents gratitude and respect for the creation. The leaves on the sølje were a common expression of virginity, and the sølje was often chosen as an engagement gift. The more leaves on the sølje the girl was given, the higher appreciation the boy had for his fiancée. The serpent sølje, most often used in Telemark, has a very exciting symbolism. In Telemark, it was tradition that the serpent sølje was a girl's brooch, and when she married, she received a bolig-sølje. The serpent sølje was then degraded to the neck, and the bolig-sølje got the best position on the chest. The serpent sølje is a sølje most commonly based on filigree technique. shaped with a large outer and smaller inner ring, joined together with 6 or 8 bow segments. As mentioned, the number of different parts of a sølje can often be divided by 3 or 4. And here you see, for example, 6 bands on the snake sølje, so the symbolism of 3 are the creative forces. The symbolism of the serpent sølje is believed to come from Norse mythology, where the Midgard, the snake, surrounds the whole earth and bites itself in the tail. If it lay still, it was holding the world together. We don't have time to get into the story of the Midgard orm, but this is the god Thor trying to fish Midgard's ormen, and is nearly caught himself. Dangerous also because of the deadly poison from the worm. The symbolism of the bolesølje dates back to the time before the Reformation in Norway. Here you have in fact the symbolism of both 3 and 4. The first bolesøljes dates back to the Middle Ages, found in the earth, and they are mentioned in the writing from Telemark from the end of the 1600s. These had mostly motifs of animals and could even be pictures of warriors with an animal body. The price of these sølje was set to 4 riksdaler, the same price as you paid for a good cow. Filigree bolesølje, as you see from Silsmea's collection, was not made until the beginning of the 1700s, and this version took over from the casted versions that disappeared in the 1800s. The 12 elevated filigree roses in the late versions symbolizes the 12 disciples, and the middle represents Jesus. Silsmea makes several and different kinds of bolesøljes. The most expensive item in Silsmea's ordinary portfolio is an all-handmade bolesølje, where 555 different bits and parts needs to be made and welded together to form this magnificent sølje. It takes about a week to make. The rose or wire sølje is one of the oldest type of sølje. The shape is made from 6 kidney or pretzel-like figures that are assembled into a ring or wreath. This sølje was known in the Middle Ages, and a rose sølje was found from the excavations of Bryggen in Bergen. It was also known both in Denmark and Finland. A gold filigree rose sølje is preserved in Denmark and dates back to the 1300s. In Setesdal we find the term silver rose or silverrosin in connection with an inheritance settlement all the way back to 1331. A face or glibbsølje is the most common name of all sølje that have motifs of faces, figures or animals. The name glib origins from the faces or masks you find in a wreath around the center of the sølje. The same ornaments can be found as decor on buildings, for example on staved churches, sledges, etc., and is supposed to give protection against evil spirits. Today it's mostly used on sølje from the western parts of Norway. The use of symbols can be traced back to pre-Christian times when patron saints, the Virgin Mary, Jesus or protective fables and symbolic animals often were used on the sølje. The real treasure. This is the Agnus Dei pendant or dalar. The traditional pendant known as dalar or Agnus Dei, from the Latin phrase Lamb of God, drawing upon a symbolic representation of the Holy Trinity. Common to the design of all Agnus Dei pendants are 3 droplets that spring from a central design. The central piece varies, can be a sølje, a silver coin, or in some cases a locket with a secret opening in the back for keepsakes or silver coins. According to tradition, the Agnus Dei design signified wealth and virtue and could even ward off evil spirits. The silver chain worn with the pendant is traditional handmade piece. It's constructed with a thicker gauze of links and is perfect for both being worn on its own and for wearing heavier pendants such as the Agnus Dei design. And here is the crown of all traditional silver, the bridal crown, that the bride wears for her wedding. There are ancient traditions of large bridal crowns several places in Norway. The first ones were reportedly commissioned by craftsmen in Bergen by the end of the 1500s. A bridal crown can still be rented many places. The bridal crowns are often made of gilded silver and are richly ornated, and the most common motifs are guarding roosters and pigeons, both symbols of virginity. Traditional bridal crowns are often worn with a bunad, and often a special bridal version. Bridal crowns and long unfolded hair should be signs of purity and chastity, and the bride could be punished with high fines if someone who was not qualified wore it. I'd like to finish this story with Silsmea's DNA. The button. The button does not only keep your shirt together, it keeps our cultural heritage together. Let me finish this presentation with Silsmea's vision, ideas, and values. Thank you for your time and attention.
Yes, we love the old and the new, the familiar and the unfamiliar, that which makes us alike and what makes us unique. We love our freedom to live as we please, as we are, that life is precious, and that we are of equal worth. We love the freedom to believe in what we choose, or not to believe at all, that it is about we and not them, us, not me. We love our right to be equal, regardless of our differences. Our mothers that paved the way so that our daughters may go further, that we cherish old traditions and create room for new ones. Our silver doesn't beautify people, it's the people that beautify our silver.
Wonderful. What a fascinating presentation. This is an opportunity for you, our guests. If you'd like to ask a few questions, we'll take a few now, and then we'll continue to have some questions at the end today. But I have a question maybe to get you started. This is for you, Anna-Kari. You mentioned that your grandfather, when he first started, or to get the business through World War II, he was doing all kinds of repairs, from knitting needles to horse bridles. How long did it take after the war ended for the business to be able to make jewelry once again?
I think they used some time to decide what would be the main product. And the three of them decided that Voss was a place where bunad was very rooted. So the bunad silver started more after the war, but he still made a lot of things. And I can tell you that when they had parties, when they lived in Bergen, my grandfather, he made small place cards, and that was in silver. He made a small pretzel for the baker and so on. So he was still making all kinds of things, but it was the two sons that needed to find the products that we should sell to the public, I think.
Oh, interesting. It was wonderful to get to see some photos from inside of the factory to see how some of these beautiful pieces are made. And I noticed that some things were happening with machines, but a lot of things were happening with humans. Could you comment on that combination of work that you're doing, some by hand and some by machine at the factory?
Yes, I think maybe also Trond could answer that, but I think it's very necessary. We need to follow we have strong competition from everyone that takes their production to cheaper countries like in the East. So I think we need to stay competitive, but we think it's so important that everything we make is made in Norway, and it's the tradition, and we will do that most effectively. Some will be casted, some will be handmade, and all of it should be quality.
Yeah, that's right, Anne-Kari. And the fact is that products that we need to produce in a large volume and normally just small pieces, then we use the machines. But most of the products are handmade.
It's just fascinating and so many fine details. It's beautiful. We have a question from someone in the audience about whether it's appropriate to wear a Norwegian sølje, a traditional pin, with American-style clothing.
Oh, I love that question because we are now really working on using the sølje for any day for your clothing whenever you want to show you have an interest of Norway. And the sølje is so much older than the bunad, so it doesn't belong to the bunad. It belonged to the clothes far back in 1300s, and now the bunad didn't come until 1814 in that area. So please use your sølje whenever you can.
Wonderful. Another question from the audience. Where does the silver come from that you use?
Trond can answer.
Yeah. The most of the silver is so-called recirculated. Did you say that? It's sort of repurposed. About 80% of the silver we use, and the last 20% is from mines in Northern Europe, mostly from Sweden.
But there used to be silver in Norway. Are they taking any silver from Norway these days?
The silver mines in sorry.
Go ahead, Anne-Kari.
The silver mines in Kongsberg was put down, and I don't know the date or the year, but there's no production of silver at the moment in Norway.
Okay. One of the people who's watching today says that she has a sølje made by your company, but hers has 7 hanging discs instead of 6 or 8. Could you say anything about that?
I think we would have to see it, but sometimes it's something in the middle that is the number 8, or so if it's 7 around, it's very often a middle piece. But she can send a picture. We can see if we can figure out the answer for that.
Wonderful. And we can share some contact information during this program, or you can always contact Vesterheim and we can get you in touch with the Silsmea folks. There's several questions on the Q&A section about cleaning. So this might be a good time to show the next part of our presentation, which is how to best and safely care for your Norwegian silver. And so we'll just pause here and we'll have another little video. And I should also mention that in the video, when it starts, our goldsmith Anders Fagertun will demonstrate how to clean the jewelry. And he'll start out by mentioning a particular silver cleaning product that's called connoisseurs. And this is widely available in stores around the United States, including Walmart. And so I'll type that into the chat as well if you're curious about the product that he starts out describing. So next we'll have the video on how to safely clean and store your Norwegian jewelry.
This time we have used this chemical called connoisseurs that you can buy at Walmart in US. This is a chemical is already mixed, and I just filled it in a new ball as I've shown you here. Then it's ready to be used. Now I'm going to show you how you can clean products that are already tarnished. As you can see here, this is black, brownish on the top, and this is a new one. And I will now show you how I can get this black one to a new and shiny one. To do that, I have made 3 balls of liquid, one with water and soap, one with only water, and the third one is with the liquid. Now I'm going to show you how I do it live. Later on I will also show you a list how to describe it. First of all, we use this ball with liquid that is it's water with soap, dishwasher soap only. So here we can just clean it to take away cream, fat, and dust. So the chemical will work as it should be. Just like this. And before I will put it in the chemical, I just dip it in clean water. So the soap is gone. And then it's very important that I will only dip it 3 seconds in the liquid. Only 3 seconds in a row, and then put it back to water. Now I will show you. 1, 2, 3, and then I stop the process in the water. Then I will take a look how it looks, and I can see that it needs some more time in the liquid. Then I go back in the liquid, 3 more seconds, 1, 2, 3, and then back in the water. Now I have stopped the process again, and now it's getting quite nice. But I think I will do it just one more time, 3 seconds, to be sure that it's how it should be. So then it's back in the chemical, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and then back in the water. To stop the process and stop the chemical working. And now you can see here it's quite nice. So then I can put it back beside the other one that looked black in the beginning. Just one more thing. Now I have seen that this is as it should be. Then I put it back in the soap, water with the soap, just to clean it one more time, to be sure that all the chemicals has gone again. And then I go back in the water to be sure that the soap is gone as well. And then it's 2 more important things to finalize the process. Now I have to dry it by using paper to take away all the water. Like this. And the final is that when it's clean and nice and dry, here we could also use a hair dryer to be sure that all the water is gone. But now I think this is okay. Then I put it and seal it in a plastic bag that keep all the air out. Back here, now it will be good looking for decades. That's the whole process. Good luck.
Thank you so much, Anders. We all are so concerned about how to best care for our Norwegian silver. The technique that you showed using the silver cleaner, is this okay to use for old pieces?
Actually, it's best to use it at white silver and gold-plated silver, because it takes away the oxide, the tarnish, and the black color. You can also use it on oxidized silver, but then it's only 1 second. But the very, very important part is to clean it first before you dip it.
Because that helps you get through the hand lotion and the hand oils so that the chemical can work?
Exactly.
Okay, so start with the cleaning, add the connoisseur's polish for 1 second or 3 seconds only.
Yeah.
Lots of rinsing, lots of washing again at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's much better to do it several times instead of one long time. So that's a very important thing as well. just 1 to 3 seconds, and then you can take a look, and you can stop the process by using water. Just dip it in water as I showed them. So then you can do it over again if necessary. Just
Very
be
good.
careful, and it's not dangerous for sure.
Good. We don't want to harm our jewelry at all.
No, that's
Is
right.
the connoisseur's silver cleaner used straight, or is it diluted?
You can use it exactly as as you bought it in the box.
Okay.
So it's you don't need to mix it or anything. You just use it as it is, and after you have used it, you can just put on the top, the lid, and then you can use it later on. Keep it cold and dark, so you can use it for many years.
And if your brooch has some of the dangling decorations, can you clean things with dangles as well as solid pieces?
Yes, for sure.
And you'd clean it the very same way?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And maybe I didn't mention in the film that you could use a soft brush that I showed them, and even a smooth and soft teeth brush can do the same. Yeah, have the same effect. And yeah.
Very good. And I'm just confirming, because we've had some questions, we can use this cleaning system on the silver jewelry, but also the parts of the jewelry that have been plated with gold. It's okay for all of that.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Excellent. Okay. We've got lots of great questions.
Yeah.
Someone wanted to know about if they have one of the old belts or new belts, can the belt plates come off to be cleaned separately from the belt?
Yeah. Actually, it's quite easy to separate the belt part from the rest of the belt. If they look at the back side, we should show them this. I think we have a movie that we could maybe share with the people that have this challenge by taking off the belt part. But it's quite easy, but you have to separate for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You cannot mix this liquid to the belt part, to the belt, sorry.
And that would be the same if you had buttons on fabric. Should you take the buttons off of something?
I think at the museum shop, they have this kind of protection that you can put between the bunad and the button. So then you can clean them. But if you are not able to clean them good enough, then you have to take them off.
Very good. Well, we'll give you a moment of a break, Anders, and we'll ask a few more questions for other topics, but we'll come back to you. Don't worry.
Okay.
This question is about whether it's permitted to have some freedom in interpreting the traditional bunad jewelry, or does it need to be approved in some way by Norwegian communities?
This is also you want to say something, Trond?
Yes, I guess this is quite a difficult question, because some people would say that you have to approve it, but luckily today most people also see that it's possible to make special purpose søljes for their bunad, and in fact, even though most people in Norway today combine bunad silver, or they do not combine, but most use the bunad silver from their region or district they have their heritage. There's also a lot of people that bring søljes from other region into and use it on their bunad. And an example can, for instance, be that my mother and father could be from Voss, but I may have a grandmother from Telemark. And then it's quite normal for women to also use the sølje from their grandmother, just to show their identity and roots. So that's quite normal. And if you look at the younger generation especially, they also like to have a sort of tailor-made product, tailor-made søljes. So in fact, at our web page, there's a possibility where you can mix a sort of standard pieces from søljes and make it into a sort of tailor-made version that is specialized for you. And that's quite popular, especially among the younger people.
That's interesting. Are some of the sølje patterns only used in one region, or are some of them used all over the country traditionally?
The rose sølje is maybe the most common all over Norway, because that's also the oldest one. But I would I'd like to add to Trond's comment that we had this bunad police, and I think this is now absolutely on the way out, because the most important sølje is the one you have inherited, and you can always wear that. So it's not you need to find your own identity, and you have the story behind it, because it is what you call it. Everybody asks you if you wear a sølje where it comes from. It starts a conversation starter, I think it is. And I think that you should be wearing what you find right, and have your own story connected to it. But if you want to know what is the correct sølje for the area you want to know, we have this information as well.
The Silsmea website is a wonderful resource. So I'll type that address into the chat shortly, because it's wonderful to see the variety. And if you know your ancestors are from a certain place in Norway, you can go and see some of the jewelry that's traditional to that area. We had a question about the symbolism of those small dangles. A lot of Americans call those dangles spoons. Could you tell us some more about the dangles?
No, the spoons, we call it the spoon as well in Norway. So we didn't quite know what to tell it, how to spell it or the word in English. But it is from the oldest sølje. And as you know, we have in America, I saw the longest sølje I've ever seen. And I think if this had been an engagement gift, that must have been a guy that was really rich and appreciated his coming wife. It is, they can be long, short, and they are often now, connected. You can make an earring of one of these, so you can have a sort of a set of them. So the dangles will often go again on several parts of the bunad, not only on the sølje. But the different parts are different from the different areas, and they have developed over 500 different bunads all over Norway. Everybody wants to show where they come from, where their identity are. So it keeps on increasing. In 1914, when they started, it was only one bunad. It was the national from Hardanger, and now it's 500. So, and the silver has sort of developed with it. Also the spoons.
There's a question about the dangles that are shaped like just rings. Is that from a particular area in Norway?
I don't know if you know, Anders, but they are ring leaves. It's just that it's a different way. We call them leaves or spoons. Yeah. That as well. And you, Anders, might know where they're most used.
Yeah, it's in the mid part of Norway, in Trøndelag, they have this kind of rings. And it depends a little bit on the goldsmith, what they could make, because it was quite easy to make a ring instead of leaf. So that's some of the reason that, they used what they had in the old time.
And are earrings and finger rings traditional?
It has become much new accessories to bunads, and that I think is very exciting. The earrings came, the rings came, and now we have even the very nice hair pieces. We have the new smaller sølje you can use, and we also have what is the last? We have several new products that has been really very much appreciated in the market in Norway. So the accessories are increasing, and they are allowed to use with the bunad, of course.
Well, many of the styles we saw in the presentation and that many of us think about right away are the styles worn by women. But what about for men? Do men wear søljes?
Absolutely. They have the button in the neck. And also they wear a knife, and they have also buckles on their trousers and on their shoes. but sølje is normally one up in the neck.
Wonderful. For everybody. We love it. There was a question about what they've been seeing, the gold on some of the styles. Is this gold plating? Is this solid gold? How do you get the gold onto the silver?
It's the gold is placed on the silver, like I say, it's a gilded process really, and the process is done by galvanizing in a galvanizing bath, where real gold is placed on the silver through a sort of electrolysis process.
Sounds complicated. Can you do that at the factory?
Yes, absolutely. We do that all the time, and we have galvanizing bath that we put the silver products into the bath, and then the electrolysis sort of place the gold or the gilding process, do the gilding process.
Okay, so gold on top and silver underneath. Wonderful.
That's very important. That is silver underneath. It's not any other metal.
The amount of soap in the water, and I can type it into chat. We've had some questions about the recipe for your cleaning once again.
Yeah. For the soap, for the bowl with the water and soap, you can actually use dishwasher soap.
Okay.
That you have in hand in your house, I think. So that's quite enough, actually.
Okay.
So not need to be complicated. But it's important that you keep it in the water for some time, maybe just to make the water and the soap work as it should be, and use a soft brush.
Okay.
That's what is needed, yeah.
Okay, I'm typing while you talk. Let's see, I'll get another question for you so you can answer, and then I will keep typing in here. Maybe this is one for Anna-Kari. The video mentioned that silver was associated with protection. Does the gold have a different significance, or is it also for protection?
That I need to find out, because it's the silver that was always this silver coin that we have heard the stories of. So the gold, sorry for my coughing, I haven't seen the same stories regarding gold, but I can investigate more. I don't really know.
Very good. I know we've seen some pins that have only silver, some pins that have lots of gold. Can we wear those pieces together side by side? Or do you want to keep the gold pieces separate?
You can use it side by side for sure.
Oh, very good.
No, yeah.
Absolutely. And I would say that that's quite nice if you sort of have
if it's oxidized.
Oh, sorry. Please go ahead, Anna-Kari.
Okay, no. It's just that if you have white silver and gold plated, that is very nice together. You can have a look if you have the oxidized silver, because that is a different color. But that's up to you. You can do what you feel like and what it looks like.
Excellent. Wonderful. Let's see. We've got a few more questions that we can, I think, get in. Do you have a personal favorite sølje design? And this question is for any of you or all of you.
I have a sølje that is not in our collection, in addition to the other ones. And but I like the dollar. I have one on. I don't know if you can see it. I think that is my favorite, the coin dollar, and that is with the handmade pendant.
Yeah, I would like to add that when you mixed color a little bit, that's quite nice, because then you get the best part of the silver. So yeah, the shiny of the silver. So so that is coming up. Quite nice, and yeah, popular in Norway as well.
Excellent. And how about you, Trond?
I think that my favorite sølje is the mini sølje I got here. It's a Trondheim sølje from Telemark, and I sort of feel a sort of identity to Telemark because of my family, but also because I think it's really nice. I really like the antique gilded sølje, and I also like the size, because it's so convenient to use on all kind of clothing, not just when I'm dressing up, but I can use it also for ordinary life when I'm work and meetings and so on.
Wonderful. I'm sure it's hard to pick, though, really. There's so many beautiful designs.
And I would also like to add that when it comes to wearing sølje on ordinary clothes, I think the mix of color is very nice. On the bunad, it can be different, but on the ordinary clothes, absolutely mix anything.
And I think we have time for one more question for you. And thank you all for your questions. There's so many good ones, and I think we could probably stay all day asking questions. If people are visiting Voss on their own, is the factory open to the public? Is there a way to see what goes on there at Silsmea?
Trond?
That's it's not open to the public, but we have guided tours with the larger groups. Mm-hmm. And if you travel all the way from America and you call me, I'll give you a tour.
Wow, that's very generous of you. Well, this is so great. It's so wonderful to see you all again and to hear more about the thing we love, I think, so much, the Norwegian silver jewelry, to hear about the history and traditions, and especially how best to care for and clean our jewelry. This is just great today. Thank you so much. Well, I'll just share my screen once again so that we can share some information with all of you. Especially, we'll start with our thanks to Anna-Kari Salbu, Trond Sivertsen, and Anders Fagertun from Sylsmea in Voss, Norway. It's so wonderful to have you with us and to share your knowledge with us. Thank you. We have the exhibition of Silsmea, Superior Craftsmanship in Silver since 1940, on view at Vesterheim in Decorah, Iowa through June 19th. And so you are all very welcome to come and see. There are video clips, there are beautiful large photographs, and of course, there's wonderful pieces of silver to see and marvel at. And if you are having a craving of some of this for yourself, this is absolutely possible. You can find a selection of jewelry from Silsmea at Vesterheim's museum store, and you can shop in person and online and over the phone. I will make one comment, which is the website, the Vesterheim website, has really only just a selection. So do please call the museum store and they can tell you more about the options that you have or show you the options that you have, because it's a wonderful thing to have some of these beautiful pieces and a connection with such a fascinating history and a company. So thank you all so much for making Vesterheim a part of your day. Thank you to Anders and Trond and Anna-Kari for being with us. Thank you for the exhibition as well. It's been a real delight at Vesterheim.